Branding design is not just a modern pursuit. It has been practiced from the dawn of civilization. Let's talk about it. Over the millennia, many different approaches have been used, some in media or materials that are not commonly used today. Each method or media imposed certain constraints on the designers. Cuneiform is the oldest form of writing on Earth, dating from about 3000 BC. But even before that, as much as 500 years before that, Mesopotamian cylinder seals were in use. These seals were a major inspiration for the development of writing. They were used to identify goods and to sign contracts, and were considered so important that they accompanied their dead in their tombs. Skilled craftsmen made them from hard stones, even gemstones such as hematite, obsidian, steatite, amethyst, lapis lazuli, and carnelian. When rolled on soft clay, they left an imprint that was the owner's brand. Their use was legally binding, much as signatures on legal documents are today. Now, stop and think about that. It means that branding is even older than writing. The Egyptians enclosed the names of their pharaohs in cartouches. These encapsulated names can also be thought of as the precursors of modern logos. From ancient cultures as diverse as Egypt and China, royal seals not only signified royalty, but also were used to authenticate royal edicts, treaties, and laws. This tradition has continued to modern nations, which use them the way corporations use logos. Japanese kamon are family crests that resemble modern logos, and many have been unchanged for centuries. They were used as patterns on armor, flags, swords, clothing, and other personal articles. By the end of the 12th century AD, such crests were widely used by aristocratic families in Japan, and since then have been increasingly adopted by common folk. Many kamon embody principles of modern logo design. The logo for the Mitsubishi Group, for instance, is a combination of the family kamon of the founder's family and the kamon of his first employer's family. European medieval heraldry provided identification on the battlefield, where helmets covered knights' faces. Specific symbols and color combinations were placed on helmet decorations, tunics, and shields. Only a single heir legitimately inherits the coat of arms. Non-inheriting sons had to create a new one, often variants of the original. Coats of arms were used like modern logos. Elaborate coat of arms designs evolved from these original, simpler designs. Because few people could read in medieval times, signage often had to communicate without words, either the nature of the business or the name of a business. A blacksmith sign might show a hammer and an anvil, a potter's sign, a mug and a pitcher. People who ran taverns and inns tended to choose names that could be illustrated on a sign, such as the Rose and the Crown, the White Lion, the Bull's Head, and so on. This is another centuries-old branding tradition. Craft guilds gained strength in various trades about 1000 AD and enforced quality standards of work among their members, who marked their work to identify each piece. This is the origin of the term trademark. Trademarking is still practiced for almost all consumer goods. Producing trademarks in crafts such as silversmithing required considerable mastery. In all cases, it was specialized craftsmen who created identifying devices down through the ages, such as cylinder seals or seal rings. It is conceivable that apprentices to these craftsmen in each age balked at the stringencies of their respective crafts and wished they could perform their jobs without first mastering such hard-won disciplines. For instance, we could imagine that a young apprentice for a cylinder seal master might propose making seals out of wood instead of the typical hard, unyielding gemstones. Unfortunately, a wooden seal would not release the clay. Or perhaps a new apprentice might want to employ a fine-lined design just to be different, to find out that the clay stuck in the little lines and didn't remain in the impression. There is no getting away from the discipline of each craft. So it is with modern identity design. All around us, people are designing unsuitable logos and selling them to unsuspecting business owners, who soon find out that the logos don't work when printed in a single color, or that printing costs are double what they could be with a better design. Some logos cannot be perceived clearly from a distance and are therefore useless on a sign. Some can't be shown small on a computer screen because when rendered through the screen's grid of pixels, they become pixel mush. It doesn't have to be that way. The core principles of identity design are now understood. Designing identities that work in all situations is eminently doable if you know the core principles of good branding design, which is coming up in future lessons. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this useful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with anyone who needs to know more about branding design.